Hey everyone, this is Rosemarie from the Unfinished Lesson, and this is another Quick Win series. In this particular series, we are taking a look at teaching how to practice. Now, since this is video 4 in the series, that means there's a few links down below to help you out if you haven't been following along with us. So in our first video, we took a look at why do we even need to make time for this during lesson time? Because you know what, we're busy. Number 2, we took a look at video 2, we took a look at how to make it relevant for our students and the difference between relevant to us and relevant to them. In video 3, we took a look at giving ownership, not blame. And in this fourth video, we're going to be taking a look at giving choices. Now, like I mentioned, the links to the previous videos are below. If you want to get the most out of this series, be sure to go back and watch those, okay? The reason we want to do that is I've given you a very small action step in each one of them to help you get the most of this and to make progress in terms of how you handle this in your studio this week. All right, now let's get into video 4. So giving choices. Well, there's rarely one way to practice. And there's rarely one way to practice even a section of a song. Right? Some ways might be better than others, but that's all part of the learning process. And so this goes back to the previous video where I was talking about giving ownership to our students. So we want to have our students, we want to give them options and have them decide. I think that when students aren't given options, it lets them know that they don't really need to take their programming to heart, that they don't necessarily have a say in what they're doing. And when students don't have a say, then that's when excuses start. Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't practice because my parents didn't print off my practice page. In my studio, they have access to it through Google Drive. So even if the parents didn't print it off, my students know where to see their digital practice page. They have no excuse. You know, they may say something like, oh, yeah, no, I couldn't do that because I forgot. And yeah, you didn't remind me. Well, no, it was on your practice page. Or, well, no, it was my parent. Or my sibling distracted me when I practiced. Oh, I've heard that one. Like, well, did you only practice one time? But yeah, as you can tell, I don't really let my students get away with the excuses. So how do we give choices? How do we avoid these excuses? So we want to, again, give options to our students and have them decide. Now, you might be thinking, what if they pick something that doesn't work? That's okay. They learn. They learned that that particular strategy did not help them reach the goal that they set. Even if that goal is, I'm going to remember in this little section that I'm going to play an F sharp instead of an F. It could be something as simple as that. And maybe their strategy had been that they were just going to remember it. I mean, you and I both know if they were going to just remember it, it would have happened before that, right? So it didn't work. Well, it wasn't a failure. It was that they learned in a real-time example that just remembering that there was an F sharp didn't work for them. So what's the next strategy, right? And you can ask your students or you can give them options. And we want to make sure that whatever options they're considering, they're always based on a goal that the student has set. And I've mentioned that, right? Say this next time that you play this section, okay, so you're telling me you're going to remember this F sharp, right? Okay, so then what's the best way to remember that F sharp? But did you notice that I didn't tell the student that they needed the goal to be an F sharp? The student knew that. They told me that. Notice I didn't tell them what strategy they had to use. I asked them, well, how are you going to remember to play this F sharp? Now, some of your students, they will come up with ideas and others will need options. And especially if they're new to this process, they'll need options. So I like giving my students a few options, usually 2 to 3, but I also like making it something fun. So in my studio right now, we're actually using a resource I created a few years ago, but that has always been a studio favorite. And that's called 5 Ways Practice Strategies. And so as students are going through their songs, we're taking a look at this PDF of 5 options that they could practice with a particular household object. As I record this video, it's actually paper cups that we're using. And so we take a quick look at it. Well, would any of those 5 work for this goal? Now, it could be that none of them will work, or it could be that maybe 2 of them will work. Because it's 5, I usually will look at it and I'll say, okay, you know what? This one, I think, can we agree that this one isn't going to help you with your goal? Okay, can we agree that this one right here probably isn't going to help with your goal either? Like, it's just really obvious. Okay, then of these ones, what do you think? Which one do you want to try that will help you reach your goal? Notice that, again, the ownership is on the student. I'm giving them choices, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. I always tell my students it's fine. If it didn't work, don't worry about it. You've learned something. Now let's try something else. You know, we don't automatically know how to play piano. We don't automatically know how to play everything perfectly. Sometimes it takes a bit to figure out what's the best option. All right, so those are kind of the 3 things that I wanted to cover in this particular video, right? Give them options. Make sure that your students, encourage them to base them on a specific goal for a song or for a section of that song. And then 3, if they need options, give them a limited number to choose from and then encourage them to try them and see which ones work. You will notice that over time, your students will get better at choosing the best option the first time. And because you've given them ownership, because you have given them the opportunity to practice making those decisions, it means that they're going to be much more successful in the future. All right, before you go on with the rest of your day, I would like you to just grab a Post-it note, please. And if you don't normally have this approach, on this Post-it note, I just want you to write down, what are the options? Place it at eye level for when you're teaching. So if you're an online teacher, maybe it's actually just like right here next to your webcam. Maybe it could be, you know, the screensaver that it shows up on part of your screen, whatever it is that you choose to do, but just have, what are the options? That way, as you're teaching, you're going to look at this, hopefully remember this video, and you'll ask your student, right? Before you tell them how to fix something, you're going to have them practice making decisions on how they practice. What are the options, right? And if they need help, then that's when you're going to give them a little bit of help. And if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm supposed to come up with practice strategies, especially ones that are fun, I will include a link to my 5 Ways Practice Strategies if you want to use it in your studio, and it'll be in the description below. All right, I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Oh, though, before you go, of course I forgot. Can you let me know, how did it go this week? What is something that you changed? What is something that you realized in terms of how you're teaching practice? Okay, I'm looking forward to the comments. And again, I'll see you in the next video.